The crisp March air clung to the night like a shroud as Denver pulsed with the rhythmic heartbeat of city nightlife. Neon lights flickered playfully against the inky sky, casting long shadows on young revelers lost in the promise of adventure. Among them was 19-year-old Kenya M., her laughter a symphony of carefree spirit as she danced her way through another night of youthful rebellion. But beneath the facade of fun, the city's underbelly whispered secrets. As the clock ticked beyond midnight, Kenya stumbled into the arms of fate, a stranger behind the wheel, a text message her only echo. The night of March 31st, 2011, unfolded in Denver with the chilly embrace typical of early spring, a mix of burgeoning blooms and lingering frost on the wind. The city was alive, a tapestry of twinkling lights and bustling streets that felt almost electric, thrumming with the promise of countless stories being written amidst the neon glow. For Kenya M., it was a typical Thursday night, a time to step away from the monotony of textbooks and lectures, to dance on the edge of adulthood with the reckless abandon of youth. Kenya, at just 19, was a vivacious soul. Her laughter was infectious, a melody that drew people to her like moths to a flame. Her friends often remarked on her ability to light up a room, her presence a bright star in the dim, cacophonous world of college life. Born in Honduras and brought to the United States by the persistent dreams of her mother, Maria, Kenya had embraced her new life in Aurora, Colorado, with open arms and an eager heart. Education was her passport to a future she eagerly anticipated, a degree in broadcasting from a Denver college a stepping stone toward her ambitions. Her life was a careful balance of family ties and burgeoning independence. Her mother Maria and stepfather Tony, a man who had seamlessly taken on the role of father with warmth and unwavering support, were unaware of the little rebellions that peppered Kenya's life. Like many of her peers, she carried the clandestine secret of a fake ID, a gateway to the adult experiences she and her friends craved. On that cool March night, the city was a tempting siren, luring Kenya and her friends with its promise of lively clubs and throbbing music. They wove their way through the streets, hearts light and spirits high, only to find a familiar door to their usual haunt closed to them. The expected bouncer, a familiar conspirator in their youthful escapades, was absent, replaced by a guardian of the law who turned them away without hesitation. Undeterred and buoyed by the thrill of the unexpected, they set their sights on another club, the night still young with possibilities. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of sweat and cheap alcohol, bodies swaying to the relentless bass that reverberated through the floor. It was here, amidst the throng of strangers, that Kenya let go of inhibitions, her laughter swallowed by the pulsating beat. The atmosphere was intoxicating, or perhaps it was the drinks, more potent than she was accustomed to, that propelled her to the edge of euphoria, then tipped her over. The world became a blur, a kaleidoscope of faces and voices as she danced and spun deeper into oblivion. In the haze of her inebriation, Kenya found herself adrift, untethered from the familiar faces of her friends. When she was finally led from the club, blinking against the harsh light of the street lamps, she was alone, her belongings left behind in the whirlwind of her departure. The cold bit at her skin, its sharpness a reminder of the reality she had momentarily escaped. But in the disarray of her thoughts, one thing was clear: she needed to find her way home. As she stumbled down the sidewalk, a car slowed beside her, the driver offering a ride. Perhaps it was the smile on his face or the gentle tone of his voice that dispelled her apprehension. Or perhaps it was simply the alcohol, clouding her judgment as she accepted the offer. Inside, the warmth of the car enveloped her, the door closing with a decisive thud that seemed to echo in the silence. The city outside was a blur of lights and shadows, the streets slipping by as the man behind the wheel introduced himself as Travis Forbes. Kenya, unaware of the gravity of her choice, could only nod, her head heavy with fatigue. The last she was seen, she was a silhouette in the passenger seat, a text message to her boyfriend, the final tether to the world she would soon vanish from. When morning light spilled over Denver, the city awakening to a new day, Kenya was nowhere to be found. Her absence was a void, a silence that sent ripples of fear through those who loved her. Louis, her boyfriend, awoke to find her side of the bed cold. His calls met with a hollow ring of unanswered questions. As the hours stretched on, anxiety turned to dread, the first rays of April first casting a shadow that would haunt the days to come. The Kiko gas station stood under the dull gray sky, its neon lights flickering like a half-forgotten promise. The chill of the early April air crept into Tony's bones as he parked his car, the weight of his firearm a grim reminder of the desperation that drove him. Every breath drawn felt thick with unspoken tension, a tangible fog of uncertainty that clouded his thoughts as he stepped into the fractured light of the gas station's forecourt. The officers were there, their presence a cold comfort amidst the unsettling quiet. Tony nodded to them as he approached, his heart a drumbeat of anxiety against his ribs. Every instinct screamed caution, yet the need for answers propelled him forward, his daughter's face a constant shadow in his mind. Travis stood near the pumps, his silhouette sharp against the dusk. A friend hovered nearby, his eyes darting with an unease that matched Tony's own. Travis was tall, lean, his demeanor casual yet tinged with an undercurrent of something unreadable. He extended a hand in greeting, but Tony's grip was firm, unyielding, a silent assertion of his determination. Tony's voice, when it emerged, was low, roughened by the night's vigil and the unrelenting edge of fear. "Tell me again," he said, his eyes fixed on Travis, searching for cracks in the facade. "What happened that night?" Travis met his gaze, his expression a careful construct of sincerity. He launched into his story once more, recounting the night's events with a practiced ease that put Tony's nerves on high alert. As Travis spoke, Tony's mind raced, dissecting every word, every nuance, seeking the thread of truth amid the tangled web of uncertainty. The wind picked up, carrying the faint scent of gasoline and the distant murmur of the city, a world continuing in ignorant bliss as his own unraveled. Tony's grip tightened around the gun concealed beneath his coat, a silent reassurance against the void of unknowns. As Travis narrated the encounter with the Asian man, Tony's eyes flickered to the gas station, to the shadows that seemed to whisper secrets in a language he could not understand. The details were too precise, too polished, and doubt gnawed at the edges of his resolve. Inside, a storm brewed, mingling fear with an anger that simmered beneath the surface, barely restrained. The officers watched, their presence a silent reminder of the thin line Tony walked, a father pushed to the edge, teetering between desperation and the law. Travis, too, seemed aware of the precariousness, his words carefully measured, his demeanor steady in the face of Tony's scrutiny. As the conversation stretched, the light continued its slow fade, casting long shadows that crept across the ground like silent witnesses to the unfolding drama. Tony's mind wandered to Maria, to their shared grief and the brittle hope that tethered them to sanity. Her voice echoed in his thoughts, a plea for caution, for reason in an unreasonable world. Finally, as Travis fell silent, the weight of the moment hung between them, heavy, oppressive. Tony nodded, a reluctant acknowledgement of the stalemate they found themselves in. He turned to leave, the officer's gaze tracking his retreat, their presence a buffer against the escalating tension. But beneath the surface, doubts lingered, festering in the silence of the drive home. The night was a yawning chasm of uncertainty, and Tony felt its pull, its relentless grip tightening with every passing moment. As he pulled into the driveway, the house loomed before him, a cocoon of memories and missed opportunities. Inside, Maria waited, her eyes wide with questions he could not answer. In the dim light of the living room, they embraced, finding solace in shared pain, their hearts united in the relentless pursuit of truth. The world outside continued its indifferent spin, each moment a reminder that Kenya was still out there, somewhere, lost but not forgotten. He moved with a peculiar urgency, a man on the brink of being overwhelmed by the weight of his own secrets. There was a frantic energy in the way he navigated the aisles, a series of hurried movements that seemed almost choreographed in their efficiency. The footage captured the gleam of determination in his eyes, a stark contrast to the casual demeanor he usually displayed. The dim glow of the bakery's security monitors cast eerie shadows across Monica Pulley's office as she meticulously reviewed the footage. Every frame was a silent testament to the looming mystery surrounding Kenya's disappearance, each second ticking away like a countdown to an inevitable revelation. Travis's actions seemed purposeful, deliberate, as though he were preparing for something monumental or concealing something unspeakable. As Monica continued to watch, her unease mounted. Her instinct screamed that there was more to Travis's behavior than met the eye. She made a note to mention these observations to Detective Nash Guru, who had become a relentless force in the investigation, digging into every corner of Travis's alibi with the precision of a surgeon. Meanwhile, Tony and Maria, gripped by a relentless anxiety, sat in their living room that felt increasingly like a fortress of isolation. The walls seemed to close in around them, the silence amplifying the agony of their unanswered questions. Maria's eyes, once bright with hope, now reflected a deep well of sorrow, a mother's intuition clashing against the limits of her helplessness. Tony, on the other hand, was caught in a whirlwind of emotions: anger, fear, and an unyielding drive to uncover the truth. He replayed every interaction with Travis in his mind, scrutinizing every word, every gesture for traces of deception. The smell of bleach in the van haunted him, a stubborn reminder of the sinister possibilities lurking beneath Travis's composed exterior. The investigation pressed on, with Detective Guru conducting interviews with a tenacity that bordered on obsessive. He knew the stakes. Each passing hour dimmed the chances of finding Kenya alive. The pressure was palpable, a tangible force urging him forward, refusing to let him rest until he had grasped the truth with both hands. As the days blended into nights, something unexpected emerged from the shadows. An anonymous tip came through, an email sent in the dead of night, its contents cryptic yet tantalizing. The sender claimed to have seen Kenya in the company of a man matching Travis's description near an abandoned farmhouse on the outskirts of town. It was a slender lead, but in a case as tangled as this, any thread was worth pulling. Detective Guru wasted no time, mobilizing a team to search the area. The farmhouse, long forgotten by time, stood in a field overgrown with weeds, its windows shattered, doors hanging ajar. The air was thick with the scent of decay and neglect, each creak of the floorboards beneath their feet echoing the ghostly memories of its past inhabitants. Inside, the team moved cautiously, their flashlights cutting through the gloom. Dust danced in the beams of light, and with every step, the anticipation grew, an electric tension humming just beneath the surface. In the corner of what once might have been a living room, a solitary shoe lay discarded, a silent witness to untold events. As Detective Guru crouched to examine it, a chill ran down his spine. The shoe was unmistakably Kenya's, a detail corroborated by the pictures her parents had shared. The discovery was both a lifeline and a curse, a confirmation of her presence, but not her fate. The farmhouse held its breath, the discovery echoing in the stillness. The case had taken a darker turn, and the search for Kenya had become a race against time, a desperate bid to unravel the mystery before it consumed them all. With this new clue, the layers of Travis's story began to peel away, exposing the raw, pulsing heart of the truth beneath. The chilling realization settled over the detectives like a shroud, the dim light casting long shadows across the forsaken farmhouse. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, a siren's call echoing the hollow emptiness left by Kenya's absence. It was as if the very earth held its breath, waiting for justice to be served. In the days leading to her disappearance, the sight of Travis Forbes on the surveillance footage haunted the investigators. The footage revealed him moving with brisk efficiency, Yet there was a calculated coldness in his actions. He wore long latex cleaning gloves, their sheen momentarily catching the light as he maneuvered a large white cooler on a cart. The cooler was ominously sealed with duct tape, its presence sinister and unexplained. The bakery surveillance cameras captured each movement with unforgiving clarity. Travis's routine was starkly disrupted by the incongruity of his actions. Rolling the cooler into the walk-in freezer, then retrieving a roll of carpet with a strange casualness that belied the gravity of his deeds. When he procured a bottle of bleach, the air seemed to thicken with dread, a palpable sense of foreboding that clung to the very walls of the bakery. As if aware of the prying eyes, the footage abruptly cut to black. The cameras were turned off, leaving a void, much like the void left in the lives of those who knew and loved Kenya. The bakery owner, Monica, noted the pungent, acrid smell that clung to the air. Travis dismissed it as moldy marijuana, a flimsy excuse unraveling under scrutiny, much like his facade of innocence. Monica, intuitive and wary, observed the gash on Travis's arm, a ragged wound he attributed to an attack by a homeless man. Yet her instinct screamed otherwise. The way Travis spun his tales with casual ease unnerved her. His lies, she knew, were as meticulously crafted as his alibis. Yet truth, like water, finds a way to seep through even the tightest of seals. In the days that followed, Travis vanished as swiftly as he appeared, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and a community steeped in anxiety. His disappearance was a mystery, another layer in the already convoluted case. The investigators scoured Travis's past, peeling back each layer with relentless precision, uncovering a history of transgressions that hinted at a darkness they had only begun to comprehend. Travis's criminal record was a tapestry of misdemeanors and felonies, each more audacious than the last. A career burglar by 17, his youthful face belied the hardened criminal within. His breach of trust was not limited to theft. It extended to broken curfews and harassment, a path of destruction that seemed only to escalate. A life marred by defiance, his past was a cautionary tale of squandered potential and unchecked aggression. Even as the days turned to weeks, Kenya remained elusive, a phantom just beyond reach. Her story reverberated across the nation, a young woman's life cut short by an invisible hand. The media frenzy cast a relentless spotlight on Travis, his crocodile tears and performative grief a grotesque pantomime of concern. Then came the breakthrough, a fateful phone call from authorities in Austin, Texas. Travis was apprehended for car theft. It was a tenuous link, a lifeline in the sea of uncertainty that threatened to drown the investigation. The news injected a sense of urgency into the case, and the Denver authorities seized the opportunity to question him, their resolve bolstered by the knowledge that Kenya's fate might still be uncovered. With Travis extradited, the chase resumed, each clue, each whisper of evidence a breadcrumb leading them back to the heart of the mystery. Time was of the essence, and the investigators knew that justice, though delayed, must ultimately prevail. The story of Kenya's disappearance was far from over, but they were closer than ever to unraveling the secrets shrouded in that fateful April night. The wheels of justice have a way of turning, no matter how slowly, and for Travis Forbes, the end of the road seemed to finally loom on the horizon. His arrest was not the result of a grand confrontation, but rather a quiet unraveling, an unmasking that began with a simple misdemeanor. The night July 4th, 2011, was heavy with celebration. The air was thick with the scent of gunpowder from spent fireworks, and the faint echo of crackling sparks lingered in the distance. But for Lydia Tillman, the night that should have been filled with joy and laughter turned instead into a descent into terror. As she walked home, the sounds of revelry were replaced with the crushing silence of fear, broken only by her own footsteps echoing in the narrow streets. The darkness was suffocating, pressing in around her, and she was unaware of the predator lurking in the shadows until it was too late. The assault was brutal and swift, a maelstrom of violence that left Lydia battered and broken. The smell of bleach, sharp and acrid, filled her apartment, mingling with the smoke of a fire ignited to obliterate the evidence of Travis's heinous deeds. But Lydia, with a strength born of sheer desperation, defied her fate. Her body, though bloodied and weak, found the will to leap from a window, crashing through glass into the night. Her survival was nothing short of miraculous. As Lydia lay in her hospital bed, her body a canvas of bruises and her spirit yet unbroken, the investigators were piecing together the puzzle. Microscopic DNA from beneath her fingernails, a silent witness to her struggle, whispered the truth that linked Travis to a string of violence. The meticulous work of the detectives, the quiet determination to bring justice, bore fruit with this match. The arrest came in the early hours of July 11th. The cool night, air crisp with anticipation. It was not the dramatic culmination of a chase, but rather a quiet capture. Travis, slippery and elusive, was finally ensnared by his own web of lies, too tangled to escape. The facade he had worn for so long had cracked and shattered, revealing the monster beneath. In the sterile confines of the interrogation room, the fluorescent lights casting harsh shadows, Travis faced the damning evidence. His bravado, once so impenetrable, began to crumble under the weight of his own deeds. Every question asked by the detectives was a strike, each word a chisel, carving away the layers of deceit. Desperation led him to bargain, to offer truths for leniency. His confession was a macabre tale of betrayal and brutality. In his cold recounting of Kenya's last moments, there was an eerie detachment, as if he was merely recounting a story rather than admitting to the extinguishing of a life. The trial was a solemn affair, the courtroom heavy with the weight of the crimes. Each testimony, each piece of evidence, was a step towards closure, not just for the families of the victims, but for a community shaken to its core. In the end, the gavel fell with finality, a sound that reverberated with justice. Travis Forbes, stripped of his freedoms, was condemned to a life behind bars, his name etched into the annals of infamy. Though justice was served, the scars remained, visible and invisible, a testament to the resilience of those like Lydia who survived and the memory of those like Kenya who could not. In the end, the story of Travis Forbes was not just one of crime and punishment, but a reminder of the darkness that can hide in plain sight and the unwavering light of justice that seeks to expose it. The air in the courtroom was thick with anticipation as the chilling saga of Travis Forbes reached its inevitable end. The scent of old wood and worn leather lingered ominously, mingling with the salty, anxious sweat of those who awaited justice's decree. Eyes glistened under the harsh fluorescent lights, reflecting a collective yearning for closure. Each word of the judge's sentence echoed with a weight that settled heavily on the hearts of the gathered, a somber symphony hanging in the room. Justice had unfurled its relentless grasp, gripping Forbes in its unyielding embrace. The chilling reminder of his malevolence would no longer roam free, and the dark shadows he cast were finally extinguished under the searing light of truth. As the gavel descended, its sharp crack resonated like a thunderclap across a silent storm, a potent declaration that no matter how deep the darkness, justice will always find its way through, avenging the lost and mending the torn fabric of lives indelibly scarred.